about that one crime. I'll pull it up so y'all can see it. Rancor. Isn't that bad? Rancor. I don't know if I should pull Rancor up. Maybe we will. I don't think it's that bad. So let's pull it up. Okay, so this is going to talk about Valentine's Day crimes. The 15 most brutal Valentine's Day homicides. Let's talk about that. And let me take this off now, since we're not dealing with a-holes. Thank you so much, Crystal. I really appreciate it. Mario, I had to put it over my thing when I was playing that video to try to keep them from striking me because they're assholes. Okay, so it reads, Valentine's Day is all about love and passion. But what happens when that love and passion takes a turn for the worse? We've all heard the term, quote, crime of passion, unquote. And the following list is an extreme example of that term told in 7 true stories. These 7 people took that whole, quote, love, unquote thing really, really seriously. This is a list of homicides committed on Valentine's Day that made the news in recent memory. What are some of the most brutal Valentine's Day homicides? Well, this list will give you that answer along with the grisly details affiliated with the incident in question. Take a look for yourself if you want to see what are some of the most heinous things committed on the greatest Hallmark holiday of them all. This one reads, an elderly couple ends everything on Valentine's Day. In 2015, the Alabama Sheriff's Department discovered the remains of an elderly husband and wife who were the victims of an apparent crime, one of which was self-inflicted. Their investigation showed that the 77-year-old husband took down his wife, 76, before ending his own life. According to AL.com, there was, quote, no history of domestic issues, and the couple was dealing with long-term illnesses. That's really sad. Yeah, I like to try to do shows where we talk about crimes and things going on Valentine's Day. Or on, specific holidays. Okay, 2, Oscar Pistorius terminates his girlfriend. And there's a picture in I guess in a courtroom, but it reads, in a shocking turn of events, Olympic and Paralympic runner Oscar Pistorius took out his girlfriend, model Reva Steenkamp, in their home in Pretoria. Initially, he was charged with a lesser crime, but that was overturned, and a much heftier charge was applied to the runner. Excuse me. At his trial, Pistorius said repeatedly he accidentally slayed his girlfriend when he believed his home had been broken into. Oh my gosh. Have we not heard that with Ellen Greenberg? Like, oh, Ellen Greenberg, I guess, is not the appropriate. I think that's what happened. I think he would have tried to use that as excuse, but these people are like, oh, I wasn't in trouble. Okay. Sorry about that. That was me. That's my internet. Excuse me. Okay. 3, man takes out wife and family home. A love story is born. Well, that guy looks scary. It says Stephen Grant walked into the Macomb County Police Department on Valentine's Day and reported his wife missing. 3 years later, they found her body in his garage. 34-year-old Tara Lynn Grant was taken down by her husband in their home in Washington Township, Michigan. And this was just the beginning. Stephen said his wife and mother of his 2 young children vanished out of the night on February 9th. He claimed she'd returned from her job in Puerto Rico, fought with him, and then left, getting into a, quote, mysterious dark car, unquote. After police found the body part in the home, they found more parts all over a wooded area near Stony Creek Metro Park. Stephen did not confess until after he was caught, even though he'd previously pronounced his innocence, undying love and concern for his wife. But a former girlfriend then turned over a whole lot of evidence, including emails from Stephen in which he mocked marriage vows and offered to let the woman, a nursing student, practice sponge baths on him. That is a weird fella right there. Yeah, 3 years later in his garage, like, didn't they check? Great question. Happy Valentine's Day, one sunny day. It's good to see you. The Blade Runner is what he was called. Oh, wow. So you guys know some of these crimes. That's interesting. Yeah, like they have one job. You didn't check his damn garage. What are y'all doing? Stop it. He also said he was suspicious about his wife's relations with an old boyfriend and an older man at her work, which probably justified his actions in his own head. Stephen led the authorities into his home for the search and then fled the scene. Authorities had to search the area for him, contact relatives, comb his neighborhood, and even reached out to his lawyer. Quote, by no means did we expect to uncover what we did, unquote, said Macomb County Sheriff Mark Heckel regarding the multiple parts found in the area. Stephen eventually confessed and was arrested. While he was waiting for trial, he was housed at the Macomb County Jail. Also residing there was Jennifer Kukla. She was found mentally ill, but is still guilty of the slaying of 2 children. She said she heard voices telling her to commit the crime. Jennifer gave prison authorities over a dozen love letters that were written to her from Stephen Grant himself. Grant also wrote 2 letters to another inmate and 4 to a woman named Sarah, though Jennifer said those were in response to letters she had written him using that name. Grant told Jennifer he wished they could arrange, quote, a rendezvous in the closet one of these days. Stop it. Stop it. Mm-mm. He also wrote that in, quote, chats with Kukla helped him to keep him sane. They helped him to keep him sane, and he missed his son, daughter, and wife, Tara. Quote, I have to tell you that you are the first person to ask if I miss Tara, and the answer is yes, unquote, he wrote. Jennifer said she wrote him because she and other inmates wanted to know what he would say about his actions. Grant was eventually sentenced to 50 to 80 years for terminating his wife and was moved away from Jennifer. This is the missionary who took out his wife. Boy, he just looks like something, I don't know, evil. This is a really good idea, and I can't speak today. This is a really good idea, Jess, and as far as I know, I haven't seen anyone else doing it. Really creative. Oh, thank you so much, Lala. That was so sweet of you. Well, I'm glad you like it. I try to do like holiday related things on the holidays. I think it's a cool idea too. Thank you for that. Abraham, good to see you, love. Happy Valentine's Day. Excuse me. A little Cupid with wings. That would be a cute little emoji of Rocco with a little Cupid. Nathan Latold and his wife Denise met a Lithuanian student while on a missionary trip to Eastern Europe. When the girl turned 18, the husband and wife team sponsored her immigration to the United States. But things turned dark after Nathan allegedly fell in love with the student and took out his wife so the two could be together. Excuse me. He told police his wife had been the victim of a crime, but after looking at his computer and noticing that he'd Google how to silence a weapon and striking someone to render them unconscious, they knew they had their man. Well, that's insane. Oh, what a mugshot. Okay. Man gets sentenced to life plus 35 years for Valentine's Day incident. God almighty. So Gibson Paul was living with Tamika Peterson, in West Palm Beach. But on Valentine's Day of 2011, Tamika decided she no longer wanted to live with Gibson and certainly did not want him to be her Valentine, which is one of the reasons he's crying in this picture. Tamika informed Gibson that she would be leaving him and that she would be moving out of their shared apartment. She then tried to end the relationship and leave the apartment with some friends for safety. His response was to arm himself. He opened fire on the car that his now ex-girlfriend was in, which contained a male driver, two female passengers, and a 3-year-old girl. Oh my God. One woman was grazed, but it was Tamika who lost her life. Gibson received life in prison. Wow. Hey, Mel. Good to see you. Yeah, it's a little bit late to be crying. Yeah, that would be cute. Do you have pictures of, if you drop pictures of it in Discord, I'll share them on my post later. Judge's daughter slays her husband. Lord of mercy, that woman. Mm. Andrea Gonzalez, a school teacher, was charged after she allegedly struck her husband in the head on Valentine's Day. EMTs responding to the consul's call noted significant fractures sustained by the victim in the incident. During her trial, Gonzalez told the court that her husband had fallen, but the prosecution deemed the result consistent with a crime. I wonder what she struck him in the head for. Like, these are the wrong flowers? You didn't get chocolates? What in the world? That is not the husband. I hope not. Daniel. Kind of, might have to question, though. I can definitely question it. That's for sure. Yeah, he didn't get her flowers or something. I don't know. All right. Number 7 is screams caught on surveillance footage. Tiana noticed a 25-year-old girl working on her master's degree in communications at the University of Hartford was dating James Carter II, not Jr., but the second. But in 2008, her relationship with James went south, so Tiana ended it. James apparently was not happy with this decision. Tiana even got an order of protection against James, but that did not stop him. According to Tiana's mother, Kathy Lewis, the last months of her daughter's life were trying. The police didn't help, so Tiana had her father put up surveillance camera outside of her apartment. That surveillance camera recorded the incident that ensued when James came after Tiana. However, the actual slaying was not caught on film. She called for help, and that call and the video were shown to the jury, as well as a poem written by Tiana, read by her father. The poem titled Chapter Closed was about leaving James. She wrote about being released from his temper, torture, threats, ego, jealousy, and insecurity. James received 60 years, and his case helped influence changes to the state laws. Damn. That's why it's so important to understand protection orders, and so that people who actually need them can get them. Nuh-uh. Hold on a minute. Oh, I thought it was Eileen Warnos. Okay, so this one's titled Moving Day Goes Wrong. After moving into an apartment on Valentine's Day, Dawn Dixon Bay came after her husband while he was laying on the living room couch. Of the incident, Dixon Bay argued self-defense, even though there was no evidence to support such a claim. However, there were multiple witnesses against the prosecuted that said they overheard him threaten to harm her husband. They overheard her threaten to harm her husband during past arguments. That's interesting. 4-year-old witnesses mother slaying and says ketchup is everywhere. Oh my God. Iansa Marquez was in a relationship with Juan, and they had 3 children together, but Juan suddenly ended their relationship in 1993. Everything was normal at first. She even remained friendly with her ex for the sake of the children. But when Juan had a change of heart and she refused to take him back, Juan decided to terminate her. The San Bernardino County Sheriff District Attorney who took the case, Margaret Beeben, said Juan followed her to her family's home. Quote, one of the kids allows him to come in because it's dad. They start to argue. She pulls out a restraining order. He said, no piece of paper is going to keep me from you. He then followed them to a local shopping center, and the two ended up arguing in the parking lot. Witnesses Bradford Montgomery testified how she saw the couple arguing near her vehicle. He sees her crying, she said. He then saw Juan slay her in front of her son. When police interviewed the little boy about what happened, he said ketchup is everywhere. According to his aunt, the boy, now 22, has suffered and will continue to carry the burden of what he witnessed. His mental state is not that of a 22-year-old. Damn. Juan left the country and hid for 19 years, but in 2012, Juan was found, prosecuted, and sentenced to 30 years to life for his crimes. That's so sad. My God. Hey, Zan, good to see you. Valentine's surprise goes bad. Oh, shit. Sean Warwick had only been dating Tiffany Barnhill for a short amount of time when he, along with two other women, kicked in the door to Tiffany's home and began firing indiscriminately. Tiffany Barnhill's body was found in the apartment a short time later. The police who responded described the scene they found on Valentine's Day 2011 as eerily quiet. Why in the hell did he just shoot her? That's insane. I hope y'all are having a good Valentine's Day, those of you coming in. Happy Valentine's Day. 11. Valentine's almost turns dangerous in Halifax. Lindsay is her name, and Randall Shepard were planning on ruining Valentine's Day for Halifax in 2015 when they almost executed a crime that was to take them throughout a Halifax shopping center. But luckily, no one was hurt because of her intense social media presence. Before she was caught, she was not only posting provocative things on Tumblr, but also tweeting things like Valentine's Day, it's going down. She and her co-conspirators were charged with various crimes and sentenced accordingly. Oh shit. Dr. Death, Valentine's Day edition. John Hamilton, a doctor in Oklahoma City, showered his wife Susan with gifts, starting with a Porsche he gave her the day they got married. This is completely normal for a happy and balanced marriage. Quote, I think John was so astounded that he had her, that he had such a wonderful, perfect, almost perfect wife in his opinion. Unquote, said Sheree Coffrey, Susan's best friend. But on Valentine's Day of 2001, John came home between surgeries to find his wife lying on the bathroom floor felled. John went to work trying to revive his wife. While the police and ambulance arrived, Susan could not be saved. John was not suspected at first until police found evidence that Susan was thinking about asking John for a divorce. John was charged in the crime and they headed to trial. Various clues underscored John's involvement in the crime. He was convicted and sentenced to life. Damn. 14, young love never had a chance. Okay, Scratch the Paint. I hope you're having a good day. Abraham said, don't you just love when these idiots announce their crime ahead of time? Yeah, like that was exactly what you should do in order to commit that crime. Idiots. I'm glad they did, though. It sounds like a lot of people were saved. So this one says, high school sweethearts Nicholas and Stephanie were having lunch at a Subway sandwich shop a few blocks south of Columbine High School. Stephanie was waiting for Nicholas to finish closing up the shop so they could go out together. A few minutes after midnight on Valentine's Day, a coworker passing by saw the lights were still on, so they checked in. They found Nicholas and Stephanie slain, lying on the floor. Witnesses reported seeing a young man who walked away from the Subway shop at the time the two teenagers were taken down. This case has since gone cold. Oh my God. We should look into that. I wonder if they've found anything out about that case since then. That's crazy. Damn. I think that's it. Nope. We got one more. A couple found slain. It was a sad morning on Valentine's Day in 2015 when officers responded to a call and discovered the bodies of Scott and Rebecca Caldwell. The coroner ruled it a crime in which one couple took down the other and then ended their own life. Shit. That one breaks my heart. I want to look into that one. I'm going to write down the names real quick. Nicholaskunselman and Stephanie Hart Grizzle, south of Columbine. Subway. I wonder if it's related to Columbine. Like if one of the boys committed that crime first before going to the school. Hey, Edith, happy Valentine's Day. Sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Y'all been following Nancy Guthrie? I heard some things happened. We're going to go to X and look at the what the Pima County Sheriff's Office said. Yeah, Mel, we started the live out talking about the Valentine's Day massacre, but it kept striking me. So we went down for a minute and then came back, I think twice. I heard that the Pima County Sheriff's Office did a raid last night. Let me pull it up. You been following Nancy Abraham? There's a lot going on, evidently. This was February 9th. I want to see what this says. This might not be related to Nancy Guthrie.
Want me to be locked up, like with my hands behind my back? You think I give a shit about that? You don't know what I've been through. What is your name and badge number?
Oh. But I remember what that's about. We're not going to play that. So, let's see what they said about the case so far. 13 hours ago, law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. SF Investigates 13 hours ago says as long as you also bear responsibility for the misinformation you're fueling by announcing there would be a press conference, which then changed to a written statement and has now become nothing. You're responsible for the certain speculation and conspiracy theories. The damage caused by the reckless statements through the night falls on Pima County Sheriff's Office. I mistakenly spent a lot of time today defending your sheriff and person in charge or something. I was wrong in my defense. So I heard that they had a medical, a coroner's van there as well. Oh no, you're okay. You're okay, sweetheart. I appreciate you letting me know. I hope that she's returned safely too. What does this say? And then leaving everyone on edge. All they have done for 2 weeks is talk about this on every news network. This is a joke. Did they have Nancy killed just so people won't talk about the Epstein documents? Oh, sorry. We obviously found a body in the back. We are going to go to bed. Maybe we'll tell you tomorrow, or maybe we'll go look in her yard again tomorrow. Yeah, they found something back there. I heard a medical examiner's van was at the place that they raided. Let's go see what Mr. Intin is saying about this case. I heard he's getting in trouble for something. All right, this video that we're going to watch is from 10 hours ago. Let's pull it up. I'm going to let you know that this is from Brian Enton and from 10 hours ago. Rosie said, I was in Tucson last Saturday. I met JLR, Brian Enton, Cody Court TV, and I dropped off an angel on behalf of Moms for Justice. Carolyn is the creator. I parked right in front of her driveway. That was sweet. I remember you telling me about that. There's a lot of people out there and they're just posted up. I wish I could go, but I don't have the ability to right now. I've heard that too, but I haven't gotten verification of that. Rosie said one of the gloves was sent out to test the DNA. It was Nancy, so we'll see what happens there. I hadn't heard that yet. That's interesting. Energy. I don't know that I have much today, love, but thank you, Mel. It's good to see you. There was a body there, not too close, I think, like a couple of kilometers away. Thank you for that, Abellis. I don't know. We're going to learn about it together. We're going to see what he says. So this is Brian Enton Investigates YouTube channel. I'm going to drop their link. Before we play this. All right, let's see what he has to say.
Really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. What a night it has been. There has been a SWAT situation that I've been covering for the last 3 or 4 hours. I was inside the perimeter because we were following the SWAT team. We got in, and we know that at least one person has been detained. The neighborhood is still all closed down. It's raining out here. It's the first time it's rained since I've been in Tucson for almost 2 weeks. So I'm going to walk you through everything that happened tonight, the latest developments. Is this possibly a break in the case? Everything that I saw, I'm getting into all of it. The latest on the Nancy Guthrie investigation.
From what I heard, he was given a tip on where to go and nobody else was. And so allegedly the police are playing favorites. I don't know though. They conducted a raid and 3 people were apprehended for questioning, but nothing came of it. No actual arrest. Thank you for that, Abraham. We should get a Snoopy Doo van and all. That would be cool. I would love that. I read there was DNA from the house unrelated to Nancy or the family. That's interesting. Not Nancy's DNA. Okay. Oh, thank you, Mel. I appreciate it. That really means a lot to me. I've been having a time of it the past couple of days. Just could be an innocent visitor DNA. It absolutely could, Stan. Or it could be somebody related to the case. I would love to do that. I want to make my Jeep like a Jeep where we go boots on the ground and stuff eventually, but I've got some years before I would have the ability to do that. So,
investigation in this episode of Brian Enton Investigates. Hey guys, it has just been an insane 4 or 5 hours in Tucson. There have been so many developments, not only tonight, which right now, if you're watching this, I don't know when you're watching this, it's Friday night. That isn't even, it's so late. It's actually after midnight now when I'm recording this. But the whole day was full of developments in the Nancy Guthrie case, which I'm going to get to in all of them. Let me start with really the breaking news.
Or Basil.
There was a SWAT raid, which I was actually at, which I'll get into the details of in a second. But we know that it is connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. They went into a neighborhood about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house in Tucson, and they detained
2 miles away. And I heard that the person they detained looked exactly like the sketch that the police put out. Yeah, I can't wait to do it, but I have to wait. I have to wait until I have the ability to go places during the day. I want to go to the Devil's Den court case or court hearing, but I don't think I'll be able to. Banana Bottom, happy Valentine's Day. There should be a link pinned at the top to come to the regular live. Yeah, I would love to, but I don't know. I'm going to try, but I don't know if I'll be able to. The thing is, I can't stay all day because my kids will get off the bus and I need to be here for that. That's kind of what I'm trying to work around or figure out at one point. That's why I say it might be a couple of years, but eventually I want to go do quite a few things. It'll be sooner than later. I'll be able to go out during the day, but I have to be back in the afternoon. That'll happen first. And then after that, maybe I can go out to places like this and actually stay there and try to get the news firsthand. But if they were playing favorites with Brian Enton, I mean, that lets you know where their loyalties lie.
A man and a woman from the house, and they also detained a man from a traffic stop at a Culver's restaurant very close to that house. And I'm told that it's all connected. I'm told that it could be a mother and son who were detained in the house and maybe the brother at the traffic stop, but they're all connected. And the reason I know this is because I'm told by sources that they were waiting to move on the house until the traffic stop happened. And that this is all connected back to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, whether
Abraham said it was not law enforcement that put out that sketch. It was a retired forensic sketch artist who is world renowned in her field who did the sketch. And you are absolutely right about that. I do remember reading that. So has the Pima County Sheriff's Office not backed it? It's just she's put it out. They haven't said anything about it. I'm checking now. I'll share this with you real quick. Reporting that no current law enforcement activity is surrounding a home belonging to a former county attorney. This is not accurate. There's no press briefing scheduled for tonight. Excuse me. We've received complaints about media parking. Staged vehicles on the narrow roadway are blocking residents. That was funny. I saw Dolly get in trouble for that. What the hell?
Full service. Who's the guy in the mask? No idea, but the dog seems to like him. Domino's delivery. Hope this isn't too late. Amazon here. Package for this address. Hey, pool service. Who's the guy in the mask? No idea, but the dog seems to like him.
What the fuck? Okay. I'm not seeing where they're backing it though. See what Tucson is saying. Tucson Police Department. Oh, somebody passed away. Oh, they're retiring. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Go back over here.
These are just people that they are looking into, whether one of them is someone that they're specifically looking to and they just detained them all for the time being while they question them. I don't know, but 3 people are detained according to my sources, at least as of when I am making this video. So
I've heard that somebody took their own life in a traffic stop, and I also heard it was somebody that looked exactly like the sketch. But as far as I know right now, that's misinformation and not true. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not there. I damn sure didn't see. So I'm waiting on the police to say something if that is true. But I've heard it's not very true. Abraham said, yeah, very impressive. Everyone giving her a hard time, which is not. See, I hate that kind of shit. This woman is got Guinness records for most successful sketches done by a forensic sketch artist. So why are we got to give her a hard time? How about we just look for the guy she sketched? You know, if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I heard, see, it's interesting because we talk about like the FBI raids and shit like that. I heard a couple of days ago that the Pima County Sheriff's Office was withholding information from the FBI and they were kind of going back and forth. So all of this is very interesting and I'm waiting for official news. But even that we're going to have to be careful with because evidently the Pima County Sheriff's Office is fighting with the FBI. Rosie said, oh, yeah, they had a pizza guy delivered at Nancy's house. They had a UPS Amazon delivery. Brian in the front door. I was in the driveway. I was by the mailbox. They have my DNA. Oh, my God. That is insane, y'all. Y'all, what the fuck is going on here?
What the fuck is going on here?
What the fuck is going on here? What the fuck? So many have been in Nancy's house. Pizza delivery, Amazon delivery, Brian, and my DNA is by Nancy's mailbox. Well, they ain't gonna come get you, sweetheart. You were doing a good thing by putting that angel there to watch over her, and that was really sweet of you to do. It really was. Abraham's saying they're saying that it was irresponsible for her to do that, that she couldn't make those assessments from just a mask, blah, blah, blah. Ridiculous folks who have no idea how forensic sketching works. Yeah, because it's so mainstream, there's always going to be somebody that's going to say, you know, you're a horrible person. Don't do that. Yeah. I saw that. I saw pictures of the pool people showing up, and they were talking about it was related to the case.
Let me back
Oh,
up a little
no.
bit. I knew that something was about to go down this afternoon. The search plane was up, which I was told was doing surveillance. And then I found out that the SWAT teams, the Pima County SWAT teams, were going to be staging, preparing for a possible operation tonight.
Yep.
And they've done that before.
Sounds like
and
that to me,
nothing has
too.
really transpired. But the sense was tonight something was actually going to happen. So I ended up going out to the two locations where I found out that they were staging. They moved from one
Yep.
location to another one very close to the target's house, which again was only 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. They moved in on the house in the neighborhood. It was two big, like Bearcat SWAT trucks. I would say maybe 24 deputies. Everyone was just
Wow.
a lot of armor. I mean, it was very, very serious. And I was told they were prepared for, for the worst, really, prepared to have to go in with force. What happened, though, is luckily they didn't have to use any force. When they got to the house, and I was right there, I got into the police perimeter. I don't know how. I think just because me and Mo, you guys know how I am by now. Like we were right there. We had good sources that led us right there. So we got in.
Yeah, allegedly it was the police showing favoritism for Brian Enton. You know what? She needs to get this clip. Where's my trolls clip? Here we go. She needs to play, the forensic sketch artist needs to play this for all of the trolls.
You don't tell me what I have to have. You ain't my mama. You're overstepping your goddamn authority. Now don't try to be my motherfucking girl, please. I don't want to do that. Because I love you. My granddaughter, you've done so much. But you about to step out of line and I'm gonna fuck your ass up.
That's what she needs to say is y'all don't know anything about what I got going on, the training I have received and what I'm doing. Y'all need to sit down before you get fucked up.
There before they put the police perimeter up, and we could tell that they didn't have to use force. The man and the woman surrendered outside of the house, and there was no issue there from what I could tell. And from what my sources are telling me. And at the same exact time, they were able to get a man from the traffic stop who is also connected to the same situation. Again, whether any of this pans out.
So if the man at the traffic stop is connected to this situation and did take his life, then I would think they would have found Nancy at that house that night. I don't know. Rosie said the pool people, I heard the family sent over to keep the pool clean. God, I cannot read. That's interesting to me. Like, I would think at a time like this, I mean, I get trying to be as normal as possible, but that's a little much. There could be evidence there. It was raining yesterday. I find it interesting that it's raining too during all of this going on. And like, I would think it doesn't rain a lot in Arizona. I could be wrong. Well, what about the people that do facial reconstruction from a skull? Come on now. That's true. A lot of people do. They're good at what they do too. I don't think they're showing favoritism. He probably has established a trusted level of rapport from being dependable and honest. And he didn't give the location to anyone. Someone posted it online. Interesting. Interesting. He's with an actual news agency. I mean, I could see them giving him that post instead of JLR or somebody. I don't know. Does anyone have an opinion on who it might be? I've been halfway following this, but I've been mostly listening to some audiobooks. I don't know what the hell to think with this. I don't either. It is really strange. I don't think anybody has any idea of what happened. I think the warrant and the people apprehended last night have to do with the person asking for 1 Bitcoin in return for identifying the culprit. Possibly. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And they are officially deemed to be part of this Nancy Guthrie investigation. I don't know yet at this point, but I know that this whole operation is connected to the Nancy Guthrie case. So they pulled them out of the house, or they came out of the house on their own. I shouldn't say pulled out. And now I know that they are conducting a search warrant at the house, which could take quite some time. Initially, it was mostly Pima County deputies, and then a cavalry of FBI agents showed up. And I mean, like, a ton of FBI and evidence response unit. They all came into the neighborhood and showed up. And I was told that they were going to be there like all night long doing evidence collection. So it's a pretty big development. Hopefully it's going to
Crazy.
lead to some major progress in the case. Hopefully it's not a similar situation to what we saw a couple nights ago in Rio Rico near the Mexico border. Remember, that was when kind of a similar situation. They went out, detained someone, did a search warrant, and it turns out, it seems that had absolutely nothing to do with the case, and they ended up letting the guy go, the guy named Carlos. Remember, I interviewed his mother-in-law a couple nights ago. This did feel, at first it felt similar, but
cool.
as more and more FBI showed up, it was a bigger scene out here tonight. It felt more significant. That was just the feeling on the ground. So we'll see how this plays out. But it was a wild
really
Friday
cool
night.
about this.
Again, just for me, kind of just going from one SWAT staging location to another, and then ending up in the middle of all this action in this neighborhood and being on the inside of the perimeter. And Mo and I just tried to stay kind of out of the way, and no one really noticed us at first because we were just sitting in our dark car. If you were watching News Nation, I was doing live shots from the dark car. And then eventually one of the deputies saw us and was like, you guys got to get out of here. So, but we were very careful in the beginning not to give the location, not to give the address. I was trying to just report very limited information because I didn't want.
But how did he get the address? Somebody posted it online. If somebody posted it online, then everybody would have been there, I'm assuming. These folks work with bone structure and facial features to put together those sketches. It's totally possible. I think it is. I think it absolutely is. I think they can all put a sketch together. The people who do the putty reconstruction from the face and the sketch artist people could absolutely give a sketch. I mean, you would have to have some kind of training and being able to identify somebody under a ski mask. The eyes and the mouth is the most important part when you're reconstructing a skull. The nose is important, yes, but you could work without it. So for me, it's entirely possible that a sketch artist, especially one with as much experience as she has, seeing the little bit of the eyes she saw and the shape of the mouth that you could see through the ski mask, could absolutely do this. And then the other person, looking at the person with the skull mask on from the side and then having that little bit of eyes and mouth, I think they could absolutely do it too, because they're trained in this. They go to school for this. As Ann said, the sheriff at a recent press conference said the FBI told local law enforcement not to talk to the media. Yes, that didn't matter. Evidently, they've been fighting back and forth for a little while. I don't know. Tells me they're still fighting with each other. It's very weird they didn't immediately make it a crime scene and this guy was just able to walk to the front door and record blood. That's another great point too, Banana Bottom. I bet. People who are able to draw an accurate portrayal. Oh, my chat just jumped. Let me play this while I read y'all's
Interfere
comments.
with their operation when there were still so many moving parts. And then, of course, when everyone was officially detained, we were able to report more. So that's kind of the latest on the SWAT situation with the house and what happened with them detaining the person from the car, which again all appears to be connected. I'm told that the car was detained somewhere near Culver's fast food restaurant. So we're going to see how that plays out. My suspicion is they're going to probably get DNA from whoever they were interested in, interested in talking to, interested who they thought may be connected to the case. And now that we know that they have DNA from Nancy Guthrie's house, they can pretty quickly, with the FBI's help,
you can click the link
try to match
pinned
the
at the
DNA
top,
there
or I'll
and see
try
if
to
this
get you
person
the
is
link.
involved. Okay, DNA. On the DNA front, big development today. Okay, I would say this is probably the second biggest development since the surveillance photos came out. And that is that the sheriff's office is saying that inside Nancy Guthrie's house, they located DNA that does not belong to Nancy Guthrie and does not belong to anyone associated with Nancy Guthrie. Okay.
So I think it's entirely possible that somebody, even though they had a mask on and gloves on, could absolutely leave DNA in the process of getting exerted by more than likely fighting her off a little bit and pistol whipping her, or whatever happened to where he could carry her outside. I mean, you got to think they've got to get in a fight, of an altercation of some sort. He pistol whips her or something to that effect. I think he pistol whipped her, but we're not entirely positive on that. He could have punched her, anything. All of these things, when you're exerted, when you're having a confrontation with somebody that's physical, if he carried her out over his shoulder like this, there's several chances for DNA to drop. A drop of sweat, one of your the beard or the mustache or beard hairs coming out. I think it's entirely possible that the person who did this could have dropped DNA in that house, considering what more than likely happened, and it could be related or it could be completely unrelated. But I think they need to test that DNA and get it done quickly in case it is somebody that's not supposed to be there. Then you've got your guy more than likely. I believe that Brian may get the scoop before some others because he's definitely more professional than most. I agree with that. I think where you're talking about a crime scene, why do you think a crime occurred there? There was nobody, no signs of struggle, just drops of blood. That could be from anyone. I've heard they were Nancy's. Okay, how else would Nancy go with them, though, unless some kind of altercation happened there? I mean, it's entirely possible that a crime didn't occur there, but it's entirely possible that it did. I'm of the mindset of more than likely a crime happened there, because the only other option is that they went in there and pointed firearms at her or something and said, "You're coming with us right now," and she left willingly. I don't think that that happened, but it's a 50-50 chance at this point. I still think the first guy they arrested, that guy knows commercials in the band. If you look at his face and compare it to the picture of the guy with the mask, look at the right eyelid mole. Oh, you need to do that. Let me star that comment. I read they did find DNA unrelated to the family. Yeah. I think they said it was touch DNA, which could have come from anywhere. You're true. That's very true, Scratch.
So a stranger's DNA located in the house. And remember, we know that they've taken DNA from Nancy Guthrie's family members. And we know that they've taken DNA from people who came in and out of the house, like landscapers, pool people, Uber drivers, that kind of thing. So they apparently ruled those people out in terms of whose DNA this is that they found in the house. And there is someone else's DNA in the house. That is a big deal, okay? Because that DNA could belong to the kidnapper. And they can now use that when things like what happened tonight happen. They can try to get a DNA match. The other thing they can do with that, and think back to Brian Koberger and the Idaho investigation, is they can look into ancestry DNA, which we learned a lot about genetic genealogy. We learned a lot about this with Koberger, and they could use it in this case. And that means that even if they can't figure out who the person's DNA is that was in Nancy's house and it doesn't come back to a specific database, they can go to 23andMe and all of these genealogy companies that people sign up for to find out their background, which is what happened with Koberger. And they can try to find matches there with extended relatives of whoever that person is. So they could maybe find a third or fourth cousin, and then they can try to whittle it down from there. And we've seen it happen before. It's a new kind of technology, but we learned all about it with the Idaho case, and it could come into play here. So it is a big deal that they found DNA in Nancy's house that does not belong to Nancy or anyone associated with her, according to the sheriff's office. And we're gonna have to keep a really close eye on that, okay? That was another big thing that came out today. Something else, the sheriff is now talking. He's doing interviews again. He did an interview with News Nation. He did some other interviews today. And
Okay, so this is the sketch of the guy, right? Hold on, let me try to make it big. This is the sketch of the suspect. And then, oh no. Hold on, I got to pull it back up. Dang it. Where is it there? Hold on just a minute. There is the guy that was questioned named Carlos. I can't make it bigger, but they do look very much alike. But I have to question if that played a role in the rendering of the sketch. But I don't think it did, because, you know, she's very trained at this. But they do look very much alike, in my opinion. What about the blood near her front door? Yeah, I think it's important to remember that they see, what he's pointing out is at the time that it happened, there was no crime scene tape put up. It wasn't until later that people began to realize she didn't walk out on her own. So If there's no crime scene tape put up, then they think that a crime hasn't occurred. But I would also question, you saw the blood and didn't think a crime had occurred there? Like, what did you think happened? I read probably a few days after this all broke out on AB channel, someone posted it all went down at Annie's, and a friend of Thomas slapped her very hard, and it contributed to her. They took her to Mexico and buried her. It was a friend of Thomas, and this was an attempt to get money from Savannah. I believe that that is entirely possible, and I'll be interested to see if that's what they say at the end of it, because I feel like it's related to the son-in-law too. Oh, we read that. My opinion is first guy is not as thick or tall as the guy in the video with the mask. Plus, they did some cell phone triangulation and determined he was not in the area. True. I've heard that. What other DNS, once they get a profile, it doesn't belong to anyone close to Nancy, they'll have to run it in CODIS to see if he gets a hit and then use, genealogy. A lot of it doesn't make sense. Did they say it didn't show up in CODIS? I don't know. They might have. I think I'm with Mariel. I think that the police investigators have dropped the ball on this case. I do. Right. No, what I mean is, like, could she have seen this guy and then it be in the back of her mind when she creates the sketch? Now, I mean, she's trained at this, right? So would you create a sketch being trained at this, even though you had seen somebody else, like subconsciously creating the sketch of this guy because he had been apprehended, if that makes any sense? At this point, anything is possible. Ebola said, zoom in on the pics of the masked suspect, and I see a mustache. Sorry. No, I saw it too. A lot of people did. I think the local authorities that did drop the ball on this in a sense because they assumed she walked out on her own in the middle of the night due to her age. Yeah. Yep.
He is saying that this whole narrative, and I shouldn't even say narrative, I mean reporting, I have reporting from FBI sources that there has been disagreements between the sheriff's office and the FBI. The sheriff.
See, this cannot be happening. When we got a case like this where somebody's missing and could more than likely be deceased, we got to be working with everybody together, hand in hand. Y'all gonna have to suck it up, buttercup, and move it the hell along. We got to come together to work this out now. That's a bit much for me. I'm going to step away to the restroom real quick, and I will be right back. She used the images of the guy with the mask. She said in an interview. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, if she had seen a picture of him, could you subconsciously, without meaning to, recreate him? I would think not, because she's had significant training in this, so hopefully she wouldn't subconsciously or without realizing recreate the sketch of the guy she had seen earlier. Even looking at the mask, the person with the mask on in the videos, but it could be possible. Heard many times eyewitness testimony is not always very reliable. Not to say it always isn't. Such a crazy story. No, I mean, and I get that, because like, you even trying to describe what somebody looks like if I'm gonna describe one of you, I might say he looks like a movie star, right? So then when I'm telling you the details of a sketch, am I recreating the movie star that you look like, or am I recreating the person that I saw? That's kind of the conflict for me. So if we're talking about the person making the sketch, is she recreating what she feels like is the man behind the mask and doing that, but subconsciously there's been this guy apprehended, so your mind makes you remember it in a different way or see it in a different way to mimic the guy that had been apprehended and released later. You know what I mean?
Sheriff is saying that that's just flat out wrong. Granted, we've been hearing different things on the ground. I've been hearing that for days, really for a week, that the sheriff hasn't been sharing information with the FBI. As recently as a couple nights ago, they weren't sharing critical information.
You be careful,
there was the
Mariel.
reporting that they were withholding critical evidence, that the sheriff wanted to send all the evidence to a private lab in Florida to have everything tested, and didn't want to send some of it to Quantico, the FBI lab. The sheriff has responded and said, look, we wanted to send it to our lab that we contract with in Florida because that's who we're used to using. And because we started sending the evidence there in the beginning, it makes sense to us to continue sending all of the evidence there. That was his response when he started doing interviews and talked to News Nation today. But he is saying flat out that he called the FBI the Monday after Nancy Guthrie went missing, and he says none of this is true, that there are disagreements between him and the FBI. Again, I've been hearing differently on the ground here, but the sheriff is saying that it's just not the case. And he's also saying something else interesting. There was reporting yesterday that a glove was found in Nancy Guthrie's house, and the sheriff is saying that's just not true, that they did not find a glove in the house. But they have found multiple gloves, outside the house, not necessarily in the property, but, we showed you the black glove that was found along the major roadway. And apparently there are other gloves that have been found that are now being tested. So some sort of just
sweetheart.
People are calling it a turf war in Tucson between the FBI and the sheriff, but we're hearing two different stories here.
I don't know I would think that the Pima County Sheriff is probably lying. I saw something. Let me pull it up. And this was before it was said that the FBI was, that they were keeping, hold on. Lord of mercy. This was before they were saying things about, the FBI not working with them. One day ago. Oh, maybe I was wrong. This was like right before I heard the claims that the FBI, that the Pima County Sheriff's Office was not cooperating with the FBI. And Salty Sleuth Investigate, this was what I saw, says reports of a glove and DNA found inside of Nancy Guthrie's home. This is a media report. The sheriff wouldn't give it to the FBI. He sent it to a lab in Florida they contract with. The lab can develop a profile but can't do IgG. The FBI can and will. I decided not to go live today. I'm not worried about that, but I saw this, which shows a clown, and it says Sheriff Nanos from one clown to another resign. I found that real interesting with everything going on and them fighting. Let me pull this back up, and y'all have to give me 1 second.
Also, President Trump spoke out today about this situation, saying that I think the quote was that the sheriff doesn't want to give up the case. That's why the FBI is still not in charge. Listen to what President Trump said.
Are you President? Why hasn't the FBI taken over the Nancy Guthrie case as the lead investigator? Do you have any updates on how that's going?
Well, they took it over originally. It was a local case originally, and they didn't want to let go of it, which is fine. It's up to them. It's really up to the community. But ultimately, when the FBI got involved, I think, progress has been made. Complicated.
It's interesting to hear President Trump say that outside the White House. And again, these are things that I've heard. There have been concerns about the sheriff's handling of the case.
Be safe.
And even he admitted, maybe they made a mistake opening up the crime scene so quickly. Remember, it was just a couple of days later they opened it up. We were able to get the blood. I spoke to the former under sheriff Rick Castigar. I've spoken to him before.
The first press conference
with the sheriff's office for 40 years. He worked with the sheriff for a long time. He's not happy with the sheriff now and the way that the investigation has been handled. And I wanted to play for you what Rick told me. First of all, what is your reaction to this new reporting that the sheriff withheld critical evidence from the FBI?
I have a one-word answer. That's outrageous. And it's outrageous for a number of reasons. The FBI is the entity that certifies those for-profit organizations of which the sheriff's department here has a contract with to analyze trace evidence, DNA, hair, anything. And to, in my opinion, to not include the FBI in that analysis is absolutely outrageous. But it's rooted in this sheriff's disdain for the FBI. And it's rooted in, back when I was a member of the organization and working, a investigation that erupted. Chris was not, the sheriff was not the focus of the investigation, but he was promised by the FBI that they would keep him apprised of the progress of the investigation of some of his subordinates. They didn't. And simply put, that.
So this goes way back. How interesting. Oh, yeah, this explains it too. Abraham said, yeah, the sheriff came up with an attitude like he knew best, and this is probably why. The CSI that I greatly respect, who is invited to train investigators all over the world, agrees with you. The sheriff's department failed to secure the scene from the very start. Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Did somebody say her pacemaker is still working? If that is true, thank God. I hope it is. If this was a solo person acting alone, it feels weird that all these other people involved and he hasn't been caught yet. True. Very true.
Angered him considerably. I think I can understand that, but that particular grudge was with individual personalities that worked for the FBI at the time, not the partners we have today.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, whatever evidence was gained over the course of several 2 weeks needed to be processed.
There was a couple,
in my opinion, by the FBI, and with their talent and with their expertise and with their capabilities. The sheriff's department doesn't have it. Classic example, and maybe I spoke to this earlier. That video that we saw in Nancy's immediate front entrance. I know that the sheriff's department kind of dismissed any opportunity to resurrect that video. But once the FBI got involved, unbeknownst to local law enforcement, it was resurrectable. And it was, now we all have, although he's masked up, we have a clear image of somebody at Nancy's front door in the time and date in question.
let me give this 100%, Mr. Gentleman, sir.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
If this is true, you can't just be dismissing the FBI. I mean, you're gonna have to work with them, and you're gonna have to let your ego sit on the sidelines for a little while so that y'all can get this case figured out and get this woman back to her family. I like that too.
The sheriff's department didn't know it was possible, but the FBI did. And that speaks
Right.
to the technology that the FBI and the expertise that the FBI has. And local authorities, I don't recall too many times, even in my 40 plus year history, where we had a big case that wasn't turned over to and asked for specific help of the FBI. They have the capability.
Just go back
Right.
for a second, and not in too much detail, but what is, you mentioned that there was this investigation that the FBI did into some of the sheriff's subordinates. What was that about?
Well, it was about an individual who was taking RICO dollars, which
Maybe.
is the racketeering
Fellas.
funds that are seized by law enforcement, and he was putting it where he could access it to pay for projects for the department. It was not put in anybody's pockets, and I cannot underscore that enough. People are going to immediately assume somebody was stealing money for their own benefit. That's not the case. And as I mentioned, the sheriff was not suspect in that case at all, but some of his subordinates were. Technically, by the RICO laws, if you launder money by taking it from one source and putting it in another, it is a violation of that law.
But he
Right.
was not happy with the FBI during that time.
No, he wasn't happy.
And you were on the inside then.
Of course.
You were the undersheriff.
I was one of his senior administrators.
Okay. And
So-
and did he say that he didn't like the FBI? I mean, what would he say?
Yes, on many occasions. To several of us, we would meet daily and discuss the issues, and he was very upset. And that's because they just didn't keep him apprised of the progress.
Oh, wow,
They kept
Abellis.
it
Well, happy
close to the
heavenly birthday
chest.
to your grandma.
He was uncertain whether he was suspect, all of these things. Well, when you're the boss of 2,000 people and some of your
Right. I mean, you're going to be suspect in a situation like that when they're doing investigations into like fuck shit happening at your place of business. I'm going to skip past this so I'm not playing his entire video again to hear everything that that man had to say. Definitely check out Brian Enton. Please give this video a thumbs up. Hopefully that should be the link to this. Of course. That's a wonderful thing. I know she's not here anymore, but 122 is amazing. So happy heavenly birthday to Abellis's grandma. That's amazing. So here he gets back to, I think, what's going on right now.
There's obviously a lot of moving parts right now in terms of developments of the case, and I think the time will come where people will look back and try to figure out whether this investigation was in fact not handled properly. Something else I wanted to show you guys, because so many of you have asked me, like, what is it like around Nancy's house? I always get questions about the neighborhood, and about the, sort of just the lay of the land there. So I wanted to make a video to show you guys what it is, what it's actually like around Nancy's house, what the foliage is like, what the just sort of like what the whole setup is. Take a look at this. So I'm in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood right now, and I wanted to give you guys a look at kind of the bigger picture of what it looks like in Nancy's neighborhood. First of all, look at this. This is the road that Nancy lives on, and we're still, about a block away, and you can see just how much media there is out here. I mean, they basically line the entire street, all sorts of different networks, people from really all over the world. Some of the live shots I've heard reporters doing are like in different languages. It's raining today, by the way, which is unusual. Obviously here in the desert, I've been here almost 2 weeks and it hasn't rained one day, but it started raining today. Which is interesting for the investigation. I mean, if there were tire tracks or anything they were looking at, that could be an issue, although it's already been 2 weeks. So they've probably already, hopefully looked for those kinds of things. This is Nancy's house right here. You can see that there is a Pima County Sheriff's deputy out front. Initially, they just had the house totally unsecured with no deputies around, but they have since kept the deputy here around the clock, just kind of keeping an eye on things, making sure that no one walks onto the property. Today, there was everybody was kind of excited about this. There was a pool cleaner that came, a pool service guy that came, and they actually let that person go back into the back of the house. This is our News Nation setup right here. That's Mo, our cameraman. Hey, Mo. He's waving. He's, I think, grumpy because of the rain. And it's been a long couple of weeks, as you can imagine. But I want to show you up here. Look, this is the area next to Nancy's house. And you can see like how dense the vegetation is. There's cactuses, there's bushes, there's rocks. And when you go back a little bit off the road, which I did the other day and was kind of walking through the desert, you can see how hard it is to see the road because of all the vegetation. So even if like a house like this is Nancy's neighbor, even if a house like this had a camera, it would be very difficult to actually see what was happening out on the road.
That's interesting. I'm with you, Abraham. Abraham says, I think it was very well thought out and planned because they have not apprehended anybody. I think so too. Not all criminals are dumb. Some are very prolific, which is why they do what they do for a long time. Absolutely. 100% true.
Boom, 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 bam.
When you get caught, it's over. I was able to do what I did for a long time. And I knew what I needed to do it. But then you get caught once and it's over. When you're on the main highway, there's street lights and cameras. When you get to Andy's house, it's very windy up and down and speed bumps. Then you have to go out on the main highway to get out. The roads are narrow in Nancy and Annie's house, and the streets across the street are closer than the houses on the right or left side. There's no street lights in Nancy's area. It's a perfect place. Not for me. Memories though, yep. When I drove to Nancy's, I came in one way and went out another way. But if you don't know your way around, you need GPS, especially at night. They just have street names and stop signs, very dark. So this person definitely planned it out and knew the area more than likely.
Not to mention, at night it's like pitch black around here. They have an ordinance here that you're not allowed to have lights on at night because of all the stargazers. So it's really, really dark here at night. You can see more media parked this way. I mean, we've kind of taken over the neighborhood, which most of the neighbors have been pretty nice. We kind of see the same ones every day out walking their dogs. So we've become friends with a lot of the neighbors. A few have been annoyed, which I understand. It's like they have a hard time getting.
Right. I would be annoyed if this happened in my neighborhood and you just came in and took over. A lot of people couldn't. I would love it. I would be outside looking at the stars every night. Some people were suggesting they used an ATV so they could approach in the desert surrounding a house. It's entirely possible, but I would hope that the FBI or the Pima County Sheriff's Office has checked for ATV tracks and located, if they found any, who owns the ATV and where the tracks came from.
through. But I think
That's
the media, for
entirely
the most part,
possible,
has been pretty
Lisa. Good to see you.
respectful of just trying to stay off the road, making sure
Happy
we take all our
Valentine's
trash
Day.
at the end of the day. I know that sounds weird, but you know, you can imagine if it was your neighborhood. So up here, you can see the mountains in the distance. And again, just like you look to the side here, I mean, look how dense. People think this is like a normal neighborhood when you watch it on the news, but each house is on 1 to 4 acres. And there's a ton of vegetation and there's a lot of space in between the houses. And you can actually, like this guy, if he was trying to get to Nancy's house without walking along the road, you could easily do that, just kind of walking through the desert, walking through these yards, and no one would see you. And again, even if you walked in the road, especially at night, there's no cameras that I've seen that are really right out on the road here in the neighborhood. A lot of really beautiful houses here, by the way. It's confusing though. It's twisty and turny in here. There's only a couple of ways to get back to the main road.
That's what Rosie was just saying. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, definitely do that, and we'll go over them on Wednesday. He is a good reporter. Except they didn't really do any ground searches or air searches until a few days later, but hopefully. I'm wondering if she has a pacemaker, are we not able to see if it's still working? And if we are, did they see if it's still working? Can they not locate it that way? And if they did check it and it's not working, is that why we got that somber message from Savannah and them? Like they already knew that she was gone because they were able to finally trace the pacemaker and saw that it was no longer working. I heard there's only one way in and one way out of most of these neighborhoods, so I'm guessing that they probably waited till it was daytime when cars started moving to get out of that area. Very possible and plausible. Yeah. Saying my dog kept barking, she wouldn't stop. That was annoying. I bet. It's crazy that you went there. I mean, there's a lot of
there's
people.
all sorts of cul-de-sacs, and even being here almost 2 weeks, I literally have to use my GPS every single day when I leave because, first of all, it's so dark, and I still can't really figure out. I still get lost in this neighborhood. So kind of goes back to like the whole thought of, did this person know the neighborhood? Did they plan ahead how to get in and out? You know, my thought is probably yes, based on just how confusing the neighborhood can be to get in and out of. Some construction happening here. There's a lot of construction in the neighborhood, I've noticed, a lot of landscapers, a lot of people doing work on houses, which goes back to, remember those black gloves that were found along the road, not far from here, I think it's about 1.5 miles from here. You know, a lot of these people doing work in the neighborhood use gloves like that. That's what some of the construction crews have told me. So, you know, I'm not sure that those gloves are actually going to connect back to the case, but we know that they were bagged and sent away for testing. And there's apparently, the sheriff is now saying there are other gloves that have also been found. So here's another intersection here. We're right up the way from Nancy's. And I can't, like, again, I can't even remember. It all sort of starts to look the same out here. Yeah, I wanted to give you guys a lay of the land and kind of show you what the neighborhood is actually like and just how spread out the houses are, and again, just how much vegetation is out here. Hopefully that gives.
I don't think I could live in the desert like that. I think I'd get upset about not having a lot of plants. Mariel said I researched it. The pacemaker has to be within a certain distance from the monitor to connect, or the app, or on her watch. But like, if they submitted a request, if the sheriff's office submitted a request to the hospital that did the pacemaker, they could get the serial number on the pacemaker. And could they connect to that pacemaker to see if it's still on, basically? Not necessarily her monitor or her app on the watch, but could the hospital, could the doctors see if it's still working? Because if there's a problem, you would have to call the hospital or get in touch with 911, right? So that they could figure out why your pacemaker is not connecting to the app or something to that effect. So therefore, could they go in and check it, I wonder? He gives us no bullshit facts. That's true. Good to see you, Skibbity, and happy Valentine's Day, like Abella said. Yeah, can the doctor monitor the pacemaker? I would think so, but I don't know. To me, it looked like the guy was wearing a mask underneath. Yep, me too. And I'm wondering if that made it more difficult to see his features. Also, the layers of clothes and gloves. Yep, it looked like that to me too, because his neck, like the ski mask came out to here. So that's either he's got like a beard bunched up like this behind it, underneath of it, or there's a bunch of mask to me. That's what it says. It has to be close to any device to connect. So the doctors can't look at it even though it's not close to them, I'm wondering. Should have specified a way in or way out that passes by public cameras. Cameras. I said cameras. The pacemaker does not have GPS tracking. It only connects to your mobile device when you're close to it. And even after one dies, your pacemaker can remain active and working for years. So we know for a fact that the doctors couldn't connect to it. Right, but there's no way for the doctor to connect to it? I would think there is. I think the son-in-law, I've thought the son-in-law had something to do with it for a long time too. No. Damn. Let's see. Hold on, we put it up. No. The doctors cannot track it because it doesn't have GPS tracking. Okay. Damn. That would have been good. I wonder if they can at least tell if it's running or not. I don't know. It says Nancy Guthrie's garage door opened at 9:48 and then closed 2 minutes later. This incident occurred shortly after she was dropped off at home by her family, and her disappearance has been a significant mystery. Here, we got a complete timeline of the case here. It says Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie, has been missing for 12 days. Authorities believe she was abducted from her Arizona home in the middle of the night. So here's what's happened. It's been 12 days since Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today's Show Savannah Guthrie, disappeared. The key question about what happened and why remain unanswered. Authorities believe 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, who has limited mobility, a pacemaker, and relies on daily medication for a heart condition, was abducted from her Arizona home in the middle of the night. Photos and videos recovered from her missing Nest doorbell cam show a fully masked person who authorities say was armed, appearing to tamper with the doorbell device the night she vanished. Nancy Guthrie's disappearance has drawn national attention amid reports of purported ransom notes and gut-wrenching video pleas by Savannah Guthrie and her siblings. Below is a timeline of developments. Okay. On January 31st, around 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Nancy Guthrie went to her family's local home for dinner. She was dropped off by family members at her ranch-style home just outside of Tucson in the Catalina foothills just before 10 p.m. that night. Quote, we know that because we have the garage door open at 9:48 p.m., Pima County Sheriff said. At 9:50 p.m., the garage door closes. It's at that time we assume Nancy's home and probably going to bed, he added. At 1:47 a.m., February 1st, Nancy Guthrie's doorbell camera disconnected, according to police. And at 12:12, the doorbell software detected a person on the camera. Investigators initially could not retrieve the footage because Nancy Guthrie did not have a subscription to store her doorbell feed, Nano said. A break in the case came when authorities, with help from private sector partners, recovered some doorbell footage from residual data located in the back-end systems, said an FBI agent. 16 minutes after the doorbell camera detected a person, police say that Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker app disconnected from her phone. Hey, Crystal, happy Valentine's Day, love. They can only tell if it's running when it's connected to the app, and I'm sure it sends information back and forth on its activity, but once you're disconnected, you can't see anything. Interesting. It wouldn't read her information if not with her phone. Damn. When you get out of the neighborhood on the highway, they have cameras and four-way stops. So then they would see somebody unless they went back through the desert. The family calls 911. Nancy Guthrie's family went to her home to check at her about noon on February 1st after she didn't show up for church. A sheriff's department spokesperson later clarified, telling news outlets that Nancy Guthrie was supposed to go to a friend's house to watch a live stream of church service, but never arrived. After a frantic search of Guthrie's home, family members called 911 to report her missing at 12:03 p.m. February 1st, and authorities arrived at 12:15. They found Nancy Guthrie's doorbell camera removed and drops of blood on the front porch that later matched back to her. If the doorbell camera was removed and we saw drops of blood on the front porch, why did we not rope it off as a crime scene at that point? That does not make sense to me. If it was just drops of blood, maybe you think she hit her head and wandered into the desert. Okay, maybe. I can give you that. But also the doorbell camera's disconnected? No. You should have roped it off immediately. I suspect they waited past those cameras for days before the actual event and waited till daytime when traffic to that area was higher to get out. Yeah. It's absolutely possible. Takes longer to sift through dozens of cars in daytime than search for one who came out during the time of the event. Yeah. Yesterday, Grish said they found a knee in a person's knee mark on a garage floor. I don't know if anything happened with that. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, the pizza guy walked up to the fucking door a couple of days later, for fuck's sake. Okay, in the days following Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, purported ransom notes were sent to local and national media outlets. One included a monetary demand with 2 deadlines. FBI Phoenix special agents in charge, Heath Jank, said it at a February 5th press conference. The deadlines have since passed. Authorities have not publicly verified the authenticity of the ransom notes, but said they were taking them seriously, as with all leads. A California man was arrested on February 5th and charged with sending a fake ransom demand to the Guthrie family. And there's the family trying to get help. Savannah Guthrie released her first video message on February 5th, begging for her mother's safe return. In a video released on Instagram, the famed NBC anchor sat alongside her siblings, Annie Guthrie and Cameron Guthrie, who spoke directly to those who may have her mother. Quote, "We too have heard the reports about the ransom letter in the media," Savannah Guthrie said. "As a family, we're doing everything that we can." She continued, "We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know without a doubt that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us." And then there was a second plea. In a short video released on Savannah Guthrie's Instagram account on February 6th, Cameron Guthrie urged whoever's out there holding our mother to contact the family. "We want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact." In a somber Instagram video with her siblings on February 7th, Savannah Guthrie told her mother's abductors, "We've received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her." Y'all. The Today Show host said, "This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us and we will pay." Do y'all understand what that means? I'm going to break it down for you. You can email them to me. Yeah, that would probably be the best way. And then I'll look at them and redact anybody's faces or anything. Yeah, that would be good. Stephanie, good to see you and happy Valentine's Day. So let me break this down for you. Reading in between the lines. Okay. "We've received your message and we understand." I'm assuming the message said, "I can't let you talk to her because she's no longer alive." And so they reply, "We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother so we can celebrate with her. Celebrate with her. Celebrate her life. Celebrate her life. And the fact that she's no longer here with us, we want to celebrate the time we had with her life. This is the only way we will have peace. Again, we want her body. This is the only way we will have peace. We want to bury her. We want to celebrate life with her, a celebration of her life. This is the only way we'll have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay. Having our mother back so we can lay her to rest is very valuable to us, and we will pay you for her body. That's what that says. How did they know she was dead unless they contacted them somehow and said she's deceased? But is that a real message? And if they were able to communicate with them, why hasn't the FBI arrested them? Or is it one of these people that got arrested for being fake and said, I can't let you talk to her because she's deceased? Because a lot of people in the media questioned whether she would be deceased, and they've since found out it was one of the fake people. Celebrate her life. So they're trying to talk to them without saying everything. Celebrate. Like, you know how people will say a funeral is a celebration of life. Right. A celebration of life. Exactly. So they're trying to word it in a way so that not everybody knows. Like, I mean, trying to communicate in front of everybody without saying it in front of everybody. You get what I'm saying? I don't know how, for me, I can't read that any other way. Again, we've received your message and we understand. That's not good news. And then following that, we beg you now to return our mother so that we can celebrate with her is definitely the fact that they said we received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother so we can celebrate with her tells me that you know she's dead and you want to celebrate her life. And then to follow that with, this is the only way we will have peace. Again, the only way we're going to have peace is if we're able to lay her to rest so we can have her back and we can lay her to rest. This is very valuable to us and we will pay. Her body is very valuable to us because it's going to bring our family closure and peace to lay her to rest finally, and we'll pay you for her body. But if they were able to communicate or get a message from the person, how the fuck did that happen without the FBI being able to track it? Right? So y'all are seeing what I'm saying. It's clear to me. Yeah, that's how I took it too. Yeah. Yeah, because they're trying to get a message to them, but they have no other way, I guess, to communicate other than being in the public. So, yeah, celebration of life is a funeral. Exactly. Why they want to send everything to TMZ. Because TMZ is like I don't know, like a tabloid kind of. I don't think what TMZ got sent is accurate. I think that was a way for somebody to try to say, oh, I want money off of it. Look at me. Let me get some of the spotlight for a minute. Just a theory, but the blood could have been from earlier. She was on blood thinners. She could have easily been scratched. That's true. Sheriff thought she had walked out on her own in the middle of the night because of her age. Yeah, that's insane. With the blood and the camera being disconnected, absolutely not. I'm with the clown. From one clown to another, he needs to retire. Yeah. It is very sad if she's passed, and I'm praying that she hasn't. I hope they get her back, but my God, that's not a good message. So it continues. On February 9th, the search entered its 9th day with no major developments. Savannah Guthrie posted a 4th Instagram video, this time urging the public for help. We are at our hour of desperation and we need your help. We believe our mom is still out there. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. The morning show host asked the public, wherever they are, to report to law enforcement if they see or hear anything strange. Then we get a break in the case. On day 10 of the Nancy Guthrie disappearance, the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department released videos and images of a person of interest in the case. The black and white footage retrieved from the Nest doorbell camera mounted outside the woman's home show a masked person who authorities say was armed at the front door the night she was taken. The person wearing a backpack and gloves appears to be holding a flashlight in their mouth and attempts to block the camera lens with plants. It's not clear what time the footage was recorded. Earlier on February 10th, an FBI spokesperson told Business Insider that the agency was not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and suspected kidnappers, nor have we identified a suspect or person of interest in the case at this time. So at this point, Savannah said, we believe she is still alive. Bring her home. someone out there recognizes this person. She said another person. So that makes me wonder if the person who was communicating with them said, I can't give you a picture of your mother or put her on the phone because she's deceased. And she says, we've received your message, and she believed it to be true, but the FBI traced it back and found out that it wasn't true, that it was just somebody else trying to basically extort them for money, and that this person in no way, shape, or form had their mother ever. And so she sends out that message and is like asking this person for her mother's body because she thinks they're legit. We find out later she's not legit. The person is not legit. So she shares another post saying, we believe she's still alive. Can you please send her back? If blood was noticed at the start, that indicates to me they wouldn't give a fuck about her medications or well-being. Why? She's 84 years old. Yeah, that's true. Anything could happen. She could have a sudden death due to stress, to heart attack, stroke, etc. Yeah. The note was sent to 2 media outlets, TMZ and another. They do this to protect themselves because it would be harder to track them. Reaching out directly to the family is more risky. That's true, but were they ever verified? I know TMZ, I saw a video from them saying that the FBI had the note and they were looking at it, but we never heard anything back. They said what we read earlier, the quote, we are taking it very, very seriously, but we've never heard anything. We read that. Spots. Okay, so if blood spots were noticed at the start, that indicates to me they wouldn't give a fuck about her medications or well-being. Why? Yeah. The person who has them, yeah. I do as well on blood thinners. I hope they never search my home with this stuff because it will look like a crime scene. Yeah, I've seen people with blood thinners and there's a lot of blood, and it could be from a scratch or some kind of something happening at the house. She had a caretaker, apparently. An APS card was left on her door. Yeah, Adult Protective Services. I've heard about that. And when you do it in such a public way, that means the public now gets involved, and it makes it harder for law enforcement to find them because everyone is now in the way. 100% right. Yeah.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They were there when the card was left. Why were they there, and when was the card left? Good question. No, that's not the way it happened. The letters were received, and then a third came through by then FBI identified which one was possible fake and which one was not. Right. That's my understanding of everything. Oh, you're talking about from the TMZ people. Why did my shit just jump? From the TMZ people, the one said to TMZ they had ruled out what was a possible fake and what wasn't. How about you don't jump 500 times? Holy shit, son. Hold on. Okay. Police briefly detain a man for questioning. Arizona authorities briefly detained a man for questioning hours after they released doorbell camera footage. The man, later identified as a local delivery driver, told reporters he did not know who Nancy Guthrie was or anything about the case. I don't know anything, the man identified as Carlos told reporters, according to a video posted on X. I hope they get the suspect because I'm not it. Persons of interest and thousands of tips. Patel, the FBI director, told Fox News in an interview on February 10th, and my thing just jumps out of nowhere, that law enforcement had made substantial progress in the case over the last 36 to 48 hours. I do believe we are looking at people who, as we say, are persons of interest, Patel said. But as you know, with any investigation, you are a person of interest until you are either eliminated or you're actually found to be the culprit or the culprits involved, and that's the stage we're at now. Just days into the investigation, the FBI offered a reward stop doing that, of up to $50,000 for information related to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. By February 11th, the Pima County Sheriff's Department said they had received nearly 18,000 tip calls in connection with the case. More than 4,000 of those calls came within 24 hours after authorities released the doorbell footage. That was, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to say a couple of days ago because we've got more. Okay. Every time he falls, it's a bloodbath. Yeah, I've heard. That's for them blood thinners will make you bleed like a lot. Judge Gola's retiring. What a freaking great day that is. When she made the message, she already knew which one was real, which is why she responded to them and the FBI separately and aside went after the fake one. So what do you think would be the message? Okay, why would she think her mother that's okay, why would it seem like she thought her mother was deceased, but then saying we want our mother home? Like, did she think that they were being legit? Like, if it's just a speculation, and I apologize if I didn't present it that way. My speculation is that somebody contacted her, said, you can't hear from your mother because she's deceased. She says, we understand. We just want to celebrate her. Please bring her back. We'll pay for it. Something to that effect. And my speculation is at that time, she really thought that she was deceased. And then she sets out a post later saying our mother is still alive, or there's a chance she's still alive. Please, somebody know something. Please let us know. Like, that would tell me that you thought that this what you got from the original, wherever you got it from. We received your message. You were told something negative. You believe that negative, but then a couple days later, you don't believe it. Why? Yeah, I'm sorry that y'all are having to deal with that. Blood thinners are no joke, unfortunately. And I'm sorry y'all are going through that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see if there's anything brand new on the case before I go for the day. Oh, hold on. No, that one's 19 hours ago. Oh, 23 minutes. No arrests were made. Hopefully this one won't jump on me 500 freaking times. I don't think she concluded her mother was deceased. She said we want to celebrate with her, meaning her return. But why say we've got your message and we understand? We want to celebrate with her. This is valued and we'll pay her back. I think she thought she was deceased. Because if a funeral is a celebration of life, we could have a funeral without her, but it's nothing without her. Like, we want her back so that we can celebrate her life with her. Oh, thank you. I made them myself. I don't really like them that much. She could be told, yeah, that's a good idea, or a good thought process. I mean, Southern cats, she could be being told what to say. Just by the way, before we go, because I'm going to read this, we'll probably go after that. Make sure you comment on this video in the next 24 hours. You can just put a dot, a thumbs up, whatever. Just make sure your name is in the comment section of either one of these videos in the next, after the live. And we're going to do a drawing of 3 people from the comment section for the 3 prizes that we give out. Okay, at first everyone thought it was just public trying to take advantage of a situation. They didn't believe it was a ransom. The FBI gets involved. I think that too. Her eyes are shifty in the video, like she's looking at someone. She very well could be. The FBI got involved and determined the letters were in fact real, which is why she put out the message at the same time. A 3rd letter came through, and that was the fake one. So what did she get the message? Okay, what then would she have understood from the message that sounded so glim? We have your message and we understand. What could they be demanding? Money? I mean, if that was the case, the timelines have passed. You see what I'm saying? This reads, no arrest after police search residence near Guthrie's home. Police searched residence about 2 miles from the home of Nancy Guthrie, the missing mother of a U.S. news anchor, Savannah Guthrie, on Friday night. The search warrant was based on a lead investigators had received, but no arrests were made, the Pima County Sheriff's Department said. A person was also questioned at a traffic stop on Friday night, but was released, the department added. It comes after local officials said investigators have found DNA at Guthrie's house that didn't belong to anyone close to her. She disappeared in the middle of the night. Authorities believe she was taken against her will. Sheriff's Department confirmed on Saturday law enforcement officers had executed a federal court-ordered search warrant based on a lead at the residence in connection with the Guthrie case. The department did not provide further details about the lead or the residents of the house, saying only that no one was arrested. More than a dozen law enforcement vehicles, both marked and unmarked, were seen in the area by BBC News, including SWAT teams and forensics. Armed police teams were then seen coming out of the area with a sheriff's vehicle blocking the road. Investigators have also found several gloves, with the closest discovered about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. The sheriff's department said reports that a glove was found inside her home or on the property were inaccurate. All collected evidence has been sent to the laboratory for analysis. They released a physical description of the suspect on Thursday, describing him as a male between 5'9" and 5'10" with an average build. It said investigators have been able to establish identifying details about the suspect after analyzing footage from the doorbell camera outside of Guthrie's home. Well, we're going to get more information about the suspect. They have her mother, and they want money, so now she's taking it seriously. The messages she put out were before the deadline, but they asked for proof of life, and the ransom never returned it. It's possible she understood that they have her. Okay, that makes sense too. I think, absolutely. You could absolutely be right. Absolutely. That makes sense too. It'll be interesting to see where it ends. It's wild. They brought the SWAT team and over 100 FBI agents, and it turned out to be nothing, or did it? Heard the medical examiner was there, so I don't know. Sounds to me like the person that allegedly took themselves out at the traffic stop didn't actually take themselves out, but they were released. So it continues. The suspect was wearing a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker backpack in the footage, the FBI said. After the doorbell footage was released, investigators have received more than 13,000 tips, including 4,000 in the first 24 hours. The FBI has also increased the reward for information about Guthrie's disappearance from $50,000 or 36,700 pounds to $100,000. The county sheriff's department said the suspect's description remains a key focus, but added that investigators are not ruling out any individuals or possibilities. They've also issued a wider appeal for video footage from Guthrie's neighbors. They said that she needed daily medication and had limited mobility. Savannah Guthrie and her 2 siblings have released a number of social media pleas directed at their mother's abductor. They believe she is still alive and have indicated they would be willing to pay for her safe return. So Abraham could absolutely be right. They could be talking about that they do still believe that she's alive and they're just trying to get her back. And he said, okay, I'll check my email. At first, everybody thought it was just somebody trying to make a quick buck. It wasn't until the FBI started putting two and two together and said, wait a minute, this is real. Interesting. Y'all know more about this than I do. I haven't been following it as closely as some of y'all have. The last one I have is that my live stream was interrupted. Due to a copyright match, your stream was interrupted. Video title, Happy Valentine's Day. Streams are interrupted with when copyrighted content is detected. Well, I think somebody reported me because I was not even playing their audio. I was reading what the damn screen said, and evidently I disappeared twice. But the History Channel is asshole sometimes. Of course, all this gets lost in translation because many creators just put out there and say whatever they hear. I go by law enforcement has to disclose to us. Absolutely. That's the way we should be. I speculate because I don't trust the government at motherfucking all. I do not trust them. That's why I was not playing when I spent all my time for like a day cross-stitching this that says come back with a warrant. So if you come to my door, I don't have to say anything. Come back with a warrant. I don't trust the government at all. At motherfucking all. I think they're trafficking children. I think that people in high up places are into some really sick shit. And I think there's a lot of shit going on that if the public knew about, we would be absolutely fucking appalled. I think that's why we don't know about a lot of things. But I would trust what law enforcement says above anything else. I just still kind of speculate that, there are things that happen that they don't want to be in the media immediately. So they lie about it would be my next question. And normally I would say no, but evidently there's some shit going on with the Pima County Sheriff that makes me question whether they would lie about it, specifically the Pima County Sheriff. Common sense on what I'm seeing. Yeah. It makes sense. And you're very intelligent when it comes to this. That's why I say, even though you and I don't always agree, you are very, very smart. It's interesting to go back and forth with you because a lot of times we don't agree and we see things differently. And it's interesting because you definitely offer a very fresh perspective that not everybody else does. And that's why I value you so much. He's done shown his true colors. You talking about the sheriff? Hell yeah, he has. Yep. I don't think it's changed much since the days of the mafia. I just think the mafia became the government. I love you too, Lola. I love that. And I love you too, love. Yep. It is okay to disagree. Keep in mind, law enforcement can lie during an interrogation. Yep. They normally do not lie when they put out a public statement. They just rather not put one out at all. That's true. That's true. Absolutely. Oh yeah, I love it when people disagree with me. I love to hear their thoughts because they could, have information I don't, or definitely see things from a different perspective. There's a lot of things that I haven't thought about looking at it from this perspective, and a lot of you do. So I think that's how we learn from each other. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I love learning from people who think differently than I do. How else will we get new ideas? Exactly. Oh my God, Banana Bottom. I am so sorry. Jesus. Maybe you can fix it. Damn. Let me turn the stars off. Was it the stars? Let me turn that shit off. The cat trying to get the stars. Let's turn it off. It is. I love hearing others' perspective because it gets me thinking and I learn something from it. Yep. Absolutely. All right, y'all. I'm going to go before anything else happens to Banana Bottom, but I really need to go too. The screen looks like lightning. Lighting or lightning? Your cat chases stuff on TV too. That's why this channel is awesome. We can talk and not be disrespectful. Yep. I agree with all of you. I agree with all of you.
Boom, 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 bam.
All right, y'all. I'm going to go for the day. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. We've been here for almost 2.5 hours. I'm going to play the outro. So again, if remember to comment on this video after the outro is done and it takes you out, like just comment anything. I don't care. You can comment a dot, a star, a thumbs up, a $sign. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you comment so you can be entered into the prize drawing. And we're going to draw 3 more names from the people who comment in the video. I will either do it tomorrow evening or Monday morning. Monday, I've got some stuff that I've been sending off FOIAs, and I'll spend tomorrow sending off a bunch more FOIAs. So we should have some interesting stuff to talk about. We'll still continue to touch on the Nancy Guthrie case. I'm not following it extensively. And I got to cut back on some things. So I don't know. I might change the outro. It kind of depends. I think I'm going to try to use AI music so I don't have to pay that bill every month. But we will see because I know that everybody really likes that outro. And I really like it too. But we've had it for since the channel started. So I'm thinking we might change it so I don't have to pay for music anymore. Because that would be, I'm trying to go around and say, I don't need this subscription. I don't need this subscription. And kind of cut back at least until we get where we need to be financially. So that's what I'm working on. I hope you have a good Valentine's Day, Kat. It's good to see you. I really do. I love you guys so very much. I hope you guys have a wonderful Valentine's Day. And I hope that Nancy Guthrie gets the justice she deserves. I hope she comes home. I hope they figure this out, man. It's really sad. Yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Valentine's Day. And I love you all very much. Thank you for being here every day. You guys are amazing.
Amazing.
And with that, I will see you on Monday. I might come live. It's probably going to be Monday. So I'll see you guys Monday. Stay safe out there and have a good Valentine's Day. Love you. Bye.
Listen up, I gotta tell you, there is something you should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better. Don't even know where to begin. If I allow myself to dream, will it be as good as it seems? Pull me out of this place in the middle, in the middle. Nothing more to embrace in the middle, in the middle. If I try to climb up the wall, everyone can see when I fall. Take me up into the mountains, send me up into the wild. Misery is still a path I would choose if the alternatives are worse. I guess it's time to find a friend, one who will stick by to the end. Going out of my mind in the middle, in the middle. Wasting all of my time in the middle, in the middle. I take the fight and spit it out, unaware of what it's about. I'm not that good at faking it. I feel somehow I've broken it. I don't believe I'm part of it. In the middle. If I try to climb up the wall, everyone can see when I fall. Nothing really matters at all. Pull me out of this place in the middle, in the middle. Nothing more to embrace in the middle, in the middle.